If you're a caregiver, you know that getting the help you need can be, well, frustrating. It can be just plain exhausting. But what if there was a science to asking for help, a way to actually get it right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down a really simple playbook that's designed to turn those vague, unhelpful offers into the real, reliable support you actually need. Oh, we have all heard this one, right? It is the classic, well-intentioned offer. It sounds so promising. But you know what? For a lot of caregivers, this seemingly simple phrase is actually the start of a major communication breakdown. So let me tell you about Sarah. She's a caregiver for her father, and she asked her sister to just, keep an eye on Dad. Well, her sister showed up, but then spent the next 2 hours on her phone. Sarah felt even more frustrated, more isolated than if she hadn't even asked at all. So what went wrong there? Okay, so to figure out what went wrong for Sarah and, how we can fix it, we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why good intentions so often fall flat. Then, we'll get into a science-backed solution and a super simple 3-step protocol you can start using right away. And finally, we'll tackle some of the biggest questions that pop up when you start asking for help in this new way. Here's the thing. The problem isn't usually that people don't want to help. The real issue, as our source material explains it, is a failure of behavioral communication. Basically, the request itself just gets lost in translation, and it ends up creating a ton of confusion for the person who's trying to help. I mean, think about it. A vague request like, just help out, is a really weak signal. It doesn't define the task, it doesn't set a time commitment, it doesn't even say what success looks like. And when people get confused, you know what they do? They often just default to the path of least resistance, which means minimal effort. And that just leaves you, the caregiver, feeling frustrated and probably not wanting to ask ever again. So, how do we send a stronger signal? Well, the solution comes from a pretty surprising place, a field called Applied Behavior Analysis, or ABA for short. And here's the key insight, the big idea. We're not applying its principles to the person needing care. No, we're applying them to the act of asking for help itself. Now, don't let that technical name fool you. For what we're talking about, ABA is just a science-backed way to create clarity. It's all about structuring our requests so that the person helping can actually succeed, feel really good about what they did, and importantly, be motivated to help again. So this whole approach gives us a simple, 3-part playbook for getting help that actually helps. It starts with how you ask, then it moves to how you acknowledge that help, and it finishes with building a whole system around it. So let's dive into the first one, the clear ask. All right, step 1 is all about how you structure the request itself. This is the foundation, you guys. If you want a clear result, you absolutely have to start with a clear ask. And this slide just shows the transformation perfectly. Watch Dad is, well, it's totally undefined. But manage Dad's post-dinner routine from 6:30 to 7, now that's a clear, time-bound mission. It tells the helper exactly how to succeed. And guess what? When the real Sarah started using this method, her sister's help became instantly more effective because all that confusion was just gone. But look, making a clear ask is only half the battle. Step 2 is all about what happens after the help is given. This is where you reinforce the behavior to make sure it happens again and again. A simple thanks is nice, but it's not powerful reinforcement. And correcting little mistakes in the moment, that can actually feel like a punishment, which totally discourages future help. The key is to be specific. Connect their action directly to the positive impact it had on you. That right there is what makes a helper feel truly effective. What's so powerful here is just how simple these are. This isn't about grand gestures. It's about clearly saying what the impact was, holding back on criticism right then and there, maybe offering a coffee, and above all, just being genuine. These small, authentic actions, they are the building blocks of a reliable support system. So the final step really pulls it all together. This is about moving away from that reactive, crisis mode asking and into proactive, systematic planning. The goal is to build help into your routine before you're desperate. This is the ultimate burnout prevention strategy. Seriously, just imagine it. 15 minutes, once a week, to thoughtfully send out clear requests for the days ahead. You're not scrambling in a panic anymore. You're executing a calm, reliable plan that actually gives you some breathing room. Okay, so this system sounds great in theory, right? But we all know that asking for help can bring up a lot of anxiety. So let's just tackle the most common mental hurdles that can get in the way of actually putting this into practice.
This is a huge one. There's this deep-seated fear that being specific is going to make you sound bossy or demanding.
So the key here is to reframe this fear. Specificity isn't about control. It's about clarity. And clarity is actually a form of compassion. You're not micromanaging, you're removing the anxiety of the unknown for your helper. You're setting them up to succeed and feel genuinely useful.
Okay, next up, the perfectionist trap. What happens when they help, but they do it wrong? Oh man, that urge to jump in and correct every little detail is so powerful.
The goal here is sustainability, not perfection. You have to ask yourself, was the core mission accomplished? Did dad get supervised for those 90 minutes? If the answer is yes, that is a win. So reinforce that success in the moment. You can always offer gentle feedback later, but prioritizing the relationship over the perfect execution is what ensures they'll be willing to help you again. And finally, let's talk about the biggest hurdle of them all, guilt. That nagging feeling that you should be able to do it all yourself, that's often the most powerful thing stopping us from ever asking in the first place. This requires a fundamental mindset shift. Asking for help isn't a failure of caregiving. It is a core caregiving behavior. It's the act that prevents your own burnout, and that is the only way to ensure your loved one gets consistent care in the long run. It's not weakness, it's strategy. So let's just bring this all together. Your goal is not to ask for miracles or find someone to take over for an entire day. The goal is to build a reliable support network, one small, successful interaction at a time. Every single clear ask and every real thank you is another brick in that foundation. So I'll leave you with one final thought to really put this into action. What is one small, specific 15-minute task you could build a clear request around this week? Just remember, starting small isn't just easier, it's the only way to build a support system that truly, truly lasts. Thanks for tuning in.